What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the garage, and today we are going to fix that battery drain that killed the battery that I just replaced. So maybe I don't have to spend another 170 bucks out of the blue because of dead batteries. Stick around. What's going on, everybody? I want to thank you for stopping by the garage. As always, if you have not subscribed, make sure to click that button, ring the bell so you get notifications. We are doing something a little bit different today. Besides tuning, we are doing just general maintenance. We are adding an auxiliary fuse bank, just a small 6-unit fuse bank that will have a automotive relay that will trigger power to this off the battery. So basically we will use a switch lead out of the factory fuse box using a fuse tap that will come over, trigger this relay on whenever the vehicle is in the run position, and then through this relay we will supply power to this fuse box, which will then power 6 auxiliary contactors or 6 auxiliary devices such as gauges, methanol injection, stuff like that. In our case, the scaling device that is used to on the fuel cell to make it read the fuel level on the gauge cluster, and that's what's been killing the battery on this situation. If you take away one thing from this entire video, it is that if you are using any crimps, make sure you're using the proper crimpers. Any kind of butt splices, stuff like that, use the proper crimpers. You can't just use a pair of pliers to crimp that stuff together. Butt splices, everybody may be down on them. That's because they don't know to use the proper set of crimpers. I will throw a link down in the description to a set like this, probably not this set. These are a pair of Kleins, which are way more expensive than they need to be. You can get these for fairly cheap on Amazon. But if you crimp with these, you will not have issues. So that being said, I need to build a little back plane for this to mount this stuff to, and then mount it in the engine bay somewhere. So let me jump on that. Let me see if I can find some scrap metal, clean it up, weld it together with a mounting tab or something, and then we'll go from there. Okay, unfortunately, ignore the mess. I know I've got to clean the garage. I haven't done much cleaning or organizing since I knocked this wall out. There used to be a wall right through here, and I installed all these shelves, moved the toolbox in here and stuff like this. This was an old office for the previous owner. I kind of got rid of a lot of my scrap metal. And so because of that, I've got some aluminum strap pieces. I'm going to just use these to build a bracket. I'm going to try and use the old, put it in a vise and then twist it to get a 90-degree turn on it here, like so. And you'll see kind of what I'm talking about with the finished product. The nice thing about aluminum is you can make it do whatever you want. Not bad. And then I believe we will drill a hole through there, and I've got a bracket or two that I can mount it to underneath the hood. So let me do that real quick. Okay, so kind of got my bracket made here. Didn't quite get her straight, but it's good enough for what we're trying to do. And I just ran a couple Allen head cap screws through and cut them off on the back. Honestly, I'd prefer to rivet this on, but didn't have any rivets long enough. So the idea is that we're going to mount this thing in between this cross strut and the body panel here. So I'm going to pull this out. And I'll throw a rubber washer in here. I don't know if I need to or not. And I hope I drilled my original hole big enough. I did. Okay. There we go. And we'll tighten this down. Okay, nice good firm mount. We can kind of tweak it because it's aluminum, which is nice. And now we need to find, this is a switched, this is a constant. This one is the one that goes back to the fuel sender. Then there's a couple lines over there. So cut this one off here. Cut this one off here or back here, put some butt splices on, bring them in, put them on their own fuse terminal. Then I need to run a power line over to the battery terminal. Actually, I forgot to mount my relay. Thank goodness I left some extra space on here. Let me throw the relay on there real quick. Okay, we just went ahead and pop rooted the relay on the back. This is a standard automotive relay. If you look, it will have the schematic on it, and they're all pretty much the same. So 86 and 85 are your coil. It's polarity doesn't really matter. One goes to power, the other one goes to ground. So in this case, we'll take 85 to ground. We will probably tie it together with the ground on this fuse box and then bring it over to one of these frame bolts for a ground. And then 86 will go to our switch powered off of the fuse box. And then from our positive terminal here, we'll run that. Actually, it will come off of 87. 87 is our normally open contact, 87A is our normally closed contact, and then 30 is our common. So 30 will go over to the battery, 87 will come over to the positive lead right here, and that's basically it. Then whenever we turn the car on, this relay will energize, put power directly from the battery to this terminal, and then this terminal feeds these fuse blocks down here, and then we'll wire up the individual things on these different terminals. Technically, we don't really need to worry too much about the ground because we can use chassis ground in most situations, so we just gotta get the power over to this side. So I'm going to knock some of that out. I'll be right back. I had to take a burrito break because look at this kick-ass breakfast burrito that Mrs. Garage made for me. You guys jealous right now? You should be. So good. There's 3 pieces of bacon in here, which means 3 pieces of magic. Okay, so I've got it mounted. I've got my ground coming over to the chassis here where the mount is. That should be good enough. We will do a check with a voltmeter or a multimeter here in a bit. I just added a butt splice to this connector. I'm going to come over and basically cut this wire open and split it right down the middle because this is my switch source. I know it is. And I will strip off enough for it to get to the butt splice. Go ahead and reef it like I'm supposed to. And bring it over into my butt splice. This is my connection to trigger my relay. Now remember, whenever you're doing something like this, to use the appropriate wire gauge for the amperage that you're going to be running. We're running a pretty low amperage setup here. And in fact, our fuse blocks here is not designed for anything over probably 5 to 10 amps per circuit. So we can run a little bit smaller wires. But if you're doing a big power distribution for a stereo system or something like that, do your research. There's plenty of information out there that'll tell you the gauge of wire that you need to run based on the voltage and the amperage. Okay, so there's our trigger wire. Now we need to extend this one out, and this one. We can go ahead and cut this one off right here. We'll put a new butt splice on it. These two will come over to our distro block. These are the first ones to be hooked in, and then we will try and make sure to leave enough slack here that we can gather a lot of this up and loom it whenever we're done. Kind of clean some of this up back here. So you'll see what I'm talking about. Stick around. Okay, so whenever I'm doing wiring like this, I like to try and keep continuity the same as far as color goes. So if I've got a wire that I've already established in white, I'm going to try and keep it in white all the way back. I've gone ahead and butt spliced this one in. I've left enough slack in here that I've got plenty of room to come in and do the necessary looming to make it all nice and clean. And now, I'm about to lose this wire. Don't want to do that. I've already got this one stripped back. Let me throw a connector on it. And sometimes it's easier to have the connector already in your crimpers. Sometimes it's easier to bring your crimpers to the connectors. Depending on how tight the space is, there's nothing wrong with going ahead and, let me put this where it won't go somewhere. Going ahead, taking your crimpers, loading your connector in like this, get it into the spot where you want it, then you can take it to the wire and put the wire in it and crimp it that way. Save you a little heartache. I need, well, for one, some more red here. In this case, I've already got a butt splice, so I'm going to go ahead and load the butt splice into the connector, get it ready to crimp, then I'll bring my wire to it. Perfect. Nice, good, solid butt splice crimp. Give her a tug, everything's good. We got plenty of slack. So I'm going to cut that off about right there. And now, let's throw a couple of spade connectors on. So, same goes with these. You just want to strip them back far enough that you get a little bit of wire poking out the end of the spade connector. You want to make sure that the shielding on the spade connector covers the insulation all the way back. This one I may have stripped a little bit too much, but it'll work. It's a good one. And then we'll do the same for this one. Get a good twist. Throw the connector on. This connector is just a smidge big for this wire, but it should pull down perfect. Okay, so we got 2 circuits out of the way. Grab a screwdriver, we'll go ahead and land those 2, and then we need to make the long run from the blue all the way over to the battery. And there's a couple over at the battery that need to come back. So, I'll be right back. Okay, so now I'm wire looming everything up here. I'm using existing loom I've already ran. And what you can do is, after you do a new penetration point in the loom, put some electrical tape right there, and that'll keep it from pulling out further down the loom. You can see I've done that at a lot of different spaces, and I'll do it as I kind of go down the line here to make sure, because this loom's getting pretty full. This is probably going to be the max that I can squeeze in there effectively. And so I want to make sure that wires don't try and pop out, which they really shouldn't, but a couple wraps of electrical tape never hurt to keep it tidy. And then when it's all said and done, I'll come back through and zip tie it back alongside where it was. And then I'll have a new section, which I'm not sure if I have any loom on me right now, that I'll have to loom from this point over here out. Because this is kind of the end point right here for that section of loom. And you definitely want to wrap up the end points or else you'll have your wires get out. You can see it's already kind of an issue because this loom has some twist back in it, which is some longer wire that's been folded back in. So it's not wanting to accept these last 2 wires. Come on, baby. If I can just get this thing wrapped, we should be good. There we go. Nice and tidy. And then I'll come back here, double check this section, and I'm going to throw a wrap on there because it's starting to push out. So let's squeeze the loom together in the fat part and wrap it up so it's good and tidy. Okay. Now I'm going to grab a couple zip ties, zip tie all that stuff back up in place, and then we'll start working on making the final connections, and we'll be ready to test everything out. Okay. One of my favorite things, zip tying, keeping everything clean, organized. If you're running vacuum lines through there like this, make sure you don't zip tie it so tight to the point where it pinches the vacuum line. This is going to my boost gauge, which isn't critical, but that doesn't mean that I want it to pinch. Keep everything tucked up here, give it that nice OEM look. one more to grow on right here. Okay, that part's out of the way. Let's jump over and finish up the wiring. Well, I ran out of wire loom, or I don't have enough wire loom, but I tell you what I'm going to do is after later this afternoon, I will swing by a sporting goods store and I will pick up some hockey grip tape. And that stuff looks a lot like the factory wrap that you'll see up in areas like this. It's kind of that cloth tape. You can also get the cloth tape at Home Depot, but it is in Lowe's and places like that, but it's a lot more expensive than just the grip tape. And then I'll use grip tape to wire this back into the loom and give it a nice factory look to it. But that's basically it. I've thrown 5 amp fuses in all these just to start out. I'm going to keep my assorted fuse with me in case for some reason one of these pops, because none of these should be over 5 amps. But I will throw these in the bed so I have them. And that's it. A nice simple installation. I've got 3 more auxiliary spots. That should be good for maybe up to 15, 20 amps. I wouldn't probably go anything over 20 amps on this little fuse block, but clean out of the way. And now all of them are off of one switched point, which is a very low load point. So hope you've enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. ABT, always be tuning. Thanks for stopping by the garage.